So we had to delay a little bit because there was some lightning in the area. So the on-site NCAA representative had to adjust the practice times a little bit, and we finished a little bit early. So thanks for your patience. And anyway, let me just go ahead and start out by announcing that tomorrow's starting pitcher will be Hilliard for Game 1. Landon Marceaux will start Game 2. And if there is a Game 3, it will be A.J. Labus. The reason that we're going to go in that order is simply that I want to give Landon Marceaux an extra day's rest. I think he probably could have pitched tomorrow night. He feels great, but you can ask Landon directly how he feels. All indications are he feels great. But as hard as he worked last weekend, I just felt the prudent thing to do was to give him another day's rest. Fortunately, the NCAA put us on the Saturday through Monday format for this weekend. I feel like Mikhail, he threw only about 60 pitches in his start. He threw 1 inning on Monday, and he looks really great. His arm speed looks good. His command looks good. He threw a little light bullpen yesterday, and he looked, absolutely normal, and I have all the confidence in the world that he's ready to go and is going to be great. The first 2 games have equal importance as far as I'm concerned, and both games are, both pitchers for the opposing team are equally outstanding. So the matchups, whether you pitch Game 1 or Game 2, you're going to go up against another team's outstanding starting pitcher. So to me, it's irrelevant whether it's Game 1 or Game 2 on which game you're starting your guy. And I just felt that the prudent thing to do was Mikhail will be a little bit fresher, and the extra day's rest will help Landon. And this is what we decided to do. So, okay. So if anybody has any questions, I'll be ready to go.
Paul, now that you're back in Knoxville, I guess just kind of take me through your thoughts on getting back in the ballpark, familiarizing yourself with it, and getting ready for the game tomorrow night.
Yeah, it felt good to get back out here. They added some bleachers, I see. Something tells me it's going to be a pretty raucous crowd, and we're looking forward to the atmosphere. It's going to be, college baseball at its finest. The people here love college baseball. The team that we're going to be playing is an outstanding ball club. We had a great series with them earlier this year. They were able to win all 3 games against us. They were very close games, as everybody knows. I think all 3 games were decided by a total of 4 runs. Just great games. Their capacity was limited back then, so the crowds, I think, were somewhere in the low 1,000s. I don't think we'll see that this week, and I think there'll be, packed stadium. And, it's going to be electric. And I think our players, I know our coaches are extremely excited about it. It's going to be a great experience for everybody involved. And hopefully we can find a way to emerge victorious.
Hey, Coach, Tony Patello said this week during his Zoom that at this point in the season, he's looking at his young guys as if they're seniors. I mean, is that how you're looking at your freshmen, younger guys, as they're starting to act like veterans? They're starting to play like veterans. They're just older now.
Well, when we came here at earlier in the year, it was the first road series many of our players had experienced in the SEC. We had played 1 series in the SEC at home against a really good Mississippi State team. The first 2 games we really didn't compete that well, and then the 3rd game we beat them. I thought that we had a chance here, but the games were really close. We just didn't win them. But, going on the road for the first time in the SEC was a tremendous challenge. Honestly, our players were kind of feeling their way through it. But now we're hardened. We've been on the road for 5 road series, plus we had to go on the road in the regional round and played a really tough Oregon team in a different environment. So I just feel like our team is much more hardened. They're more confident. They've seen a lot of experiences. We played at Ole Miss in front of a huge crowd. There was no attendance limitations, And we had success. We had success at Kentucky. We had success at Texas A&M. We had success at Auburn. We had success at Oregon. So all those experiences allow their confidence to continue to grow. And so I think we're a completely different team than we were back then. Does that mean that we'll win here? Obviously, we're going to have to go out there and play tremendous because we're going up against one of the best ball clubs in the country. And they're also more experienced, as Tony, I'm sure, told you. So, yeah, it's going to be, a great series. And, whichever team plays the best baseball is going to emerge from the Super Regional.
Paul, what are the specific things that you've seen? You kind of alluded to there a second ago. You've seen maybe Tennessee evolve and improve in either whether it's player or team since your meeting early in SEC play.
Well, for one thing, Mikhail Hilliard, he has emerged as a starting pitcher for us. You remember game 2 when we played at Tennessee, Jaden Hill was our number 2 starting pitcher. Unfortunately for him and for our team, he was injured a couple weeks later and out for the year. Mikhail at that time was a little bit inconsistent out of the bullpen. When he was good, he was really good. When he wasn't on top of his game, it wasn't as good, obviously. But once we put him into the rotation, he's been fabulous. And his freshman year, he was in the rotation. He was fabulous most of the year then, and he's been really outstanding for our team. And I shudder at the thought of where we'd be without him and the way he's pitched for us. That's one thing. I think the emergence of Javen Coleman, our left-handed freshman, Javen Coleman, he's pitched unbelievable. I think, our second base situation is solidified now. We've had to move Drew Bianco to center field because of the nagging injury to Giovanni DiGiacomo, and Drew Bianco has played phenomenal in center field for us. And I think Zach Arnold has really played well at second base for us and done great offensively. So our lineup is pretty solid now. We know what everybody is capable of doing. Everybody's playing with confidence. They know they're going to be in there. And I just think it's one of those things that as the season wears on, you just find out the guys that you can count on, they know they're going to be in there. They're going to play with confidence. They're all the way in. They're not playing with one foot out the door, and they're not worrying about keeping their job. They just want to beat the other team, and so they're out there letting it rip and take it as it comes and hopefully play well. So I just feel like there's a lot of things about our team that are different now than it was 2 months ago.
How different does Tennessee look, if at all, at this point compared to back then?
I don't really know because I didn't watch him play that much after we played him. We played him early in the year, and I caught glimpses of him playing here and there. We got dumped out of the SEC tournament pretty early. I didn't really watch that much of it after. I was kind of busy making the decision on whether or not I wanted to retire or not, and that kind of took most of my attention through the latter part of the SEC tournament. So I really didn't pay that close of attention to them. I know they played well at the SEC tournament, made it to the championship game against Arkansas, but I didn't get to watch them much after we played them. But I'm sure that they played well because they won 20 ball games and won their division. And obviously, congratulations go to them, and they had a great year.
Paul, I know you talked about how this team has had their rough road woes and they've gone through the ringer a little bit and gotten adjusted to a hostile environment. But how do you think they'll adjust back to a Tennessee? Because it seems they stood out with their hostility last time you were over at Rocky Top. So with an increase in that amount, how do you think they'll do?
Listen, first of all, I want to apologize for those comments that I made a couple of months ago. I really think that was blown way out of proportion. I didn't mean in any way to criticize the people in Tennessee. I love the people in Tennessee, and I stuck my foot in my mouth and made some comments that I really didn't think about before I said. I didn't mean in any way to criticize the people here. They're wonderful people. And the question was asked to me, how our freshmen handled the first time being on the road. And, there were a handful of of young kids, college kids that were riding Trey Morgan pretty hard, and the comments were about him being nasty towards him not handling it very well. It wasn't so much criticizing them as much as it was saying that Trey Morgan wasn't handling it very well, that he had to learn how to handle it. And somebody listened to it and wrote something, and I really think it got blown out of proportion. I really did not mean to criticize anybody from the city or state or anything like that. You know, they were just rooting for their team. And, you know, you go to any ballpark in the SEC, including Alec Box Stadium, and you're going to hear fans saying things to the other team to try to distract them and get them away from their game. And our players had to learn to handle that. You know, there's nothing said differently here than you'd find at Alec Box Stadium, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, or any other ballpark in our league. And it's what makes it fun, you know, and our players needed to learn to handle it. And that just happened to be the first experience that they had in this league. And our players have learned to handle it. So, you know, when there's only 1,000 people in the stands, you pretty much hear everything. When there's 5,000 people in the stands or 10,000 people in the stands, you really can't hear anything that's being said because it's so loud and it's more of a murmur. So our players are going to handle things fine. You know, they're used to it now. Like I said, we played at Ole Miss when there was no limit on the capacity. We've played at other places, and our players are more mature now. They're grown up. And I feel really bad about the comments that I made, and I really do apologize. I didn't mean to insult anybody, and I've been coming to Tennessee a lot of times, and the people here are wonderful, and the last thing in the world I wanted to do was insult anybody, I promise you.
Hey, Coach, Trey Wallace, Rocket Top Insider. You spoke about the crowd as well earlier in the week with an interview down in Baton Rouge, and I'm just kind of wondering, is that more of a motivation factor for your players? I don't think they need any more motivation. You probably agree as well, playing in a super regional. But is that something that, you know, maybe you're trying to use as a rallying cry? Because I've heard the comments a couple times now in the past few months and even this past week, and I'm just curious on your take on it.
Spoke of the crowd in what way? I don't believe I said anything negative about the crowd this week.
No, I'm talking about the atmosphere that coming into a super regional or a venue, something like that. Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, no. Hey, listen, this is the way it's supposed to be. You know, the people at every SEC school care deeply about their baseball teams, and this is what makes the SEC so special. And now when you add to that, it's the super regional, and the stakes are the winner gets to go to Omaha and play for the national championship. You know, you're just trying to prepare your team for what to expect, you know, get them mentally ready. And I didn't want them to all of a sudden walk into the gates and all of a sudden there's 5,000 people there and they'd catch them by surprise. You know, their experience here earlier in the year was there was only about 1,000 people. And I wanted them to know that there was, you know, it was going to be a packed house. They had a packed house here last week for the regional, and it was going to be a different atmosphere because the place was going to be full. And yet there were going to be 600 tickets provided for LSU fans as well. So we weren't going to be alone. You know, we're going to have some fans here as well. So I was just kind of trying to draw a picture for them in their mind of what to expect when they got here. But listen, the game is not going to be between the fans. It's going to be between the teams on the field. And that's where the players' focus will be and the coach's focus will be. And, the team that pitches the best, the team that hits the best and runs the bases and makes the plays, those are the teams that are – that's going to be the team that wins, and that's the way it's supposed to be. The fans are going to be a part of the atmosphere, and that's going to be exciting, and that's why people come and play and coach in the SEC, because it's what makes the SEC different than anywhere else in the country, is so many people care about college baseball in our conference.
Well, how much time have you spent thinking about Cade Veloso and what he could do for you this weekend?
Well, I spent a lot of time thinking about Cade, and I hope that he is ready to explode this weekend. Yeah, he could be the X factor for us. There's no question about it. I know what he's capable of doing, and I'm seeing some glimpses that he's ready to break out. And hopefully there could be no better time for it to happen than this weekend. I've seen how great he can be, and let's hope that this is the weekend that he does it.
Coach, I know you said that this postseason is not about you and your last ride, but just how special would it be for you to clinch a super regional, on the road in your last season?
Well, again, yeah, I don't want it to be about me. I've had 39 years in this business, and I've loved every second of it. And I don't mean this to sound braggadocious in any way, but I've had a lot of good things happen to me in my lifetime. And I've got a bucket full of memories and things that I can always go to when I'm, alone and feeling, like I'm missing it and can remember. These kids, they get 3-4 years, and this is something that's all about them. And I want them to experience, college baseball. This just happens to be my last year, but every year is special for me. And if we can get to Omaha one more time, I'd love it. Believe me, for me personally as well, but really especially for the kids. I want them to have this experience. I know that last weekend was special for them. When you work at LSU or play at LSU, it's very hard to do something that's never been done before, not been done in a long time. And when Bill Francis told me after the series last weekend that it was the first time since 1989 that LSU had won a regional on the road, that it was the first time ever that LSU had lost the first game of a regional and come back to win one, I was blown away. He also told me that LSU has never won a super regional on the road. I wish he had waited until after the series to tell me that this year, before this weekend. But, we can make history this weekend too. So it's pretty cool to think that after all these years that you can do something that's never been done before. So, listen, it would be special, but I don't really want to get wrapped up in me. It's all about these kids. I love them all. They're playing their hearts out. And I'd love to see them experience it much more than for me.
Brother, sisters, high school friend coming back?
No, wife, son, grandson. That's it this time.
Coach, you have a good mix of veterans and newcomers since that 2019 Super Regional. What advice have the older players really given to the younger guys?
I don't think I can answer that question. You'll have to ask the veterans on this team. I think Landon is one of those veterans, so maybe when he's up here, you can ask that question. Landon was a freshman, and he pitched game 2 against Florida State, so I'll let you ask him that question.
Coach Andrew Clay, KTC in Lafayette. If we can reflect for a second, you had media day back in early February. What is one thing you wish you knew then that you've learned throughout the year about this team?
That's a good question. You're catching me off guard with that, though. One thing I wish I knew then that I know now.
Yeah, one thing about this team that you have learned throughout the year that you wish you knew before the season.
I wish I knew Jordan Thompson was going to play as well as he's played this year. I would have had a lot less sleepless nights before the season began. How's that?
Hey, Landon. This is Glenn here. Just I guess talk about, obviously Sunday is going to be kind of an important day of whether or not you guys are saving your season or a chance to go to Omaha there. I mean, is that going to be a kind of a different experience for you pitching, I guess, second during the weekend instead of first?
Well, to start this year, I started the second game of the series, and then, in 2019, I started the second game against Florida State. So I have quite the experience pitching on the second day, So, like you said, you're either going to win it and go to Omaha, or you're going to try and keep your hopes alive for the next day. It's a very important day. Each game we play is important, but especially that one. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm excited. I can't wait. We couldn't get here fast enough, in my opinion. So we're excited to play and we're ready to go.
Y'all have a good mix of older guys and younger guys. You're one of the guys who was on the 2019 Super Regional team. What advice have y'all kind of given to the guys who weren't on that team going into a Super Regional?
Well, I've kind of told some of the younger pitchers to not get caught up in the moment. Everybody thinks that it's the postseason and there's some added pressure, which there is. Obviously because you're playing each day for a championship. So I mean, or you lose and you go home. So that is added pressure on itself. But it's just you can't get caught up in the moment, because then you start putting pressure on yourself, when there's enough going on already. And, when you get overly pressured, it's really hard to perform. You start getting in your head and things like that, so, and just passing that type of information along to the younger guys is been crucial in getting them to understand that.
Landon, obviously, Mainieri said that the reason that they pushed you to Sunday was to give you that extra day of rest after going twice this week. And how much do you think that'll help you after doing something you haven't really done, pitching twice in a weekend, to have that extra day?
Well, the extra day, obviously, I wanted to go game one, but he talked me out of that one, so he wanted me to go to game two, and, so, it is what it is. Obviously I'm not aggravated about it at all. Pitching day 1 or 2 doesn't matter to me, but as far as the rest thing goes, I pitched on short rest quite a few times this year, and I've done well doing on short rest, and, it doesn't bother me at all, so I think, giving my body one extra day to recover. I haven't come out of the bullpen much in my career, even in my prep days. So haven't come out of the bullpen much. So that was a little bit different for me, but, I recovered very well. Me and Coach talked the day after. I felt great, felt strong, didn't feel fatigued at all. So, this extra day, it may help, maybe, but I feel great, So, whether it was tomorrow or Sunday, I was ready to go either day. And Coach ultimately decided that Sunday was the day to give me the rock. So, I'm ready to go.
Landon, what or who stands out about Tennessee from either your meeting with them earlier in the year in Knoxville or just observing them as the year has gone on?
Well, we faced them a while back, and I haven't really looked at them too much since then. I couldn't tell you that I was expecting to play them again, but, I don't know if there's one person that really stands out. I think their lineup is very deep. I think their lineup is very capable of going deep, hitting homers at any point in any count. They're liable to swing and miss, as well. And that's what comes with hitting homers, So I think they have somewhere close to it, like 96 or 98 homers or something on the season. But, and their ballpark is conducive to homers as well, and, so keeping the ball in the park is a big deal, limit them to solo homers if you can, so free passes are going to be of needed limitation. And really that's really it, they got a couple guys that are hitting for average, a lot of guys that are hitting homers, so we're just going to take it to them and do what we need to do, throw the ball over the plate and let our defense work and get out as quick as possible to get us in the dugout and ready to hit.
Hey, Landon, just one more from me. Obviously you guys had, some veterans step up in the bullpen, and Devin and Trent and those guys, but how impressed were you with the freshmen and Garrett Edwards, Javen Coleman, Will Helmers, just a couple of those guys who have been, obviously clutch for you guys all season, but to see them do that in a postseason setting last weekend, what does that say about them and about, how big they're going to be for you guys, obviously, this weekend?
Yeah, starting with, Garrett Edwards and Will Helmers and those guys, they've been doing it all year long. Will Helmers has been starting midweeks. He's tied for the team league and team lead in wins, So, he's been doing it all year long. And as well as Garrett Edwards, Garrett hasn't had, the breaks, he's made a pitch here or there that, he wasn't very successful on, and, he got bit by it. And, that's part of being a freshman and learning, how to deal with that. But he's been rock solid all year long. And then Javen Coleman, I think, man, he has blossomed into a key piece in our rotation, in our pitching staff. I've really kind of taken him under my wing, here in the last month and a half. You can tell he's very uncomfortable, being, around us and, playing in front of these crowds and things like that. He's very uncomfortable with that, and he came to me a while back and we sat down and talked about it. And, I think it's shown how much he has really gotten comfortable. And, he was up to 95 the other day in Oregon, man, and he was lights out, So, that just shows how far he's come and what he's ready to do. So, Javen Coleman's been probably the biggest person to blossom as far as the freshmen go.
When he came to you, what did you tell him, or what did you think he needed to know?
Well, I mean, I don't want to, give out everything we've talked about because it was a little bit of a heart-to-heart because he's never gone through some things like that before, and as well, I related to it. I think that's why me and him really, gotten kind of close here this last month is because I could relate to that. The first month of my season, my freshman year, it was really hard for me, so, I could relate to that. And I think that's why, he's kind of, he came to me and we talked about it and what he needs to do to, really get back down to earth, because he said he was kind of feeling, he was kind of like looking down on himself, so I think getting him back into perspective of that he really is a really good pitcher and that he's here for a reason, and he's just been unbelievable the last few times he's taken the ball. So, I'm proud of him and we're going to look toward him to do some big things this weekend, hopefully.
Just what's the approach for you going here into game one, getting the ball here in this, starting game of a super? I don't know, just how comfortable and confident do you feel in this position?
Well, same mindset, just another game. Just like Landon said, don't try to put too much pressure on myself and think about it too much. Try not to live in the moment and just take it one pitch at a time, one game at a time, one inning at a time, whatever it takes to get the job done. And pretty much I'm just gonna go out there and go right at them, try to go as long and as hard as I can, and pass the ball on to the next guy.
In your second,
how does it feel for this to be the apex of your comeback story during the season? Of course, you started out in the bullpen, and then the injury happens to Jaden, and now you're starting for the first game of the Super Regional. How does it feel to have that journey come full circle?
Well, it feels amazing. Like I was saying last week, it's crazy. It's crazy that you're given these opportunities, and sometimes you don't perform at your best capability, and you run into a few bumps in the road. But sooner or later, you're gonna get that opportunity again, and I was ready. And tomorrow, I'm gonna be ready too. So it's amazing having these chances to go out there and perform like I know I can for my team and for the fans, because LSU's fans are amazing, and them and the boys on the field they're the key factors of how they drive me pretty much. Got caught up in my words, but I get a little emotional talking about it because it is my senior year and it means so much to me, but it's amazing.
Mikhail, how much do you guys focus on what happened during the regular season against Tennessee, or do you guys just forget the past in this situation?
We don't think about past games. Like, yeah, we are in Tennessee and we know what happened last time we were here, but we fixed we went onto the practice field and fixed whatever we needed to fix, and we know we hit the ball pretty well out here, but the walks kind of got to us, so we went back to the drawing board and got right. So I think we're prepared for tomorrow.
Take me back to your second appearance in Oregon. Did you plan on having it be just an inning, maybe a little bit more? Was there something that you were feeling while you came out there in that game? And how have you felt this week as you gear up towards this Super?
No, I felt fine. I actually felt amazing. Surprisingly, after coming back from a one-day rest, I feel pretty good. I'm pretty sure the reason I came out, as Coach said, I threw 65 pitches in my first start out there, and since Landon had so many innings, and he was coming back on short rest a lot of weeks in a row, I was the best option. And it doesn't really matter where I pitch in the rotation, but that was the game plan, and we're sticking with it.
Within that start, obviously Central Connecticut put up a 5 spot. Was there anything in that inning that you identified that you needed to do differently? After that, I think you threw 2 scoreless. But was there anything within that inning that you sort of figured out was going wrong?
Yeah, I had to make the adjustment of throwing my pitches, getting through them. Veal was down, but that doesn't really take effect on how I pitch and what my game plan is. I have to just go straight at batters and let my fastball do what it does. It has that natural cut on it, and get on top in counts and throw my curveball for strikes. And since I wasn't getting on my pitches, I wasn't getting into counts that I wanted to. So I fixed that next inning and realized my mistakes.
Hey, Mikhail. Obviously, Tennessee has a lot of explosive bats in their roster. I think they're up there in the SEC for home runs this season. I mean, it's expected to be a pretty big crowd there this weekend. I guess how important is it for you in the back of your mind to not let, obviously the offense get an early start and get that crowd into it? How much are you kind of taking into effect of just, starting fast and keeping, I guess, the crowd out of it as much as possible?
Well, as everybody's witnessed, I don't let the crowd get to me. Whenever I'm on a mound, I really block out anything else except for the coaches. The coaches and the players. I try to keep everything on the field and not even listen to anything like that. So, yeah, I know that Tennessee has a very explosive lineup, but just like I said, I'm gonna go right at them and let the defense work, put them away and try to put them away early in counts and get after it.
When it comes to Javen Coleman, how have you seen him kind of evolve this season? And to have a lefty who can throw like 95 like he does, and can throw 3 pitches, I mean, how tough is that maybe to hit or, to find in a college roster?
Well, Javen Coleman, as soon as he came in, just watching his first few days of work, we all knew, like all the upperclassmen, we all knew that he had the stuff. It's just the mental aspect that every player has to have. You gotta have that focus. As soon as you step on the rubber, you're not holding anything back, and just that elder mentality of you're not getting me, knowing your throwing routine and knowing yourself pretty much to be able to go up there on the mound and dominate. But over the past few weeks, he has made leaps and bounds, becoming a really outstanding pitcher, and he's come through for us. So for that, like, he's pretty amazing. It's pretty good pitcher.
Dude, how excited are you just to be in this situation? To get the ball, to be in the supers. We can rewind the clock, 2 months, and this didn't look like it was in your all's cards.
It's amazing. I mean, I love traveling to different SEC schools and witnessing the atmosphere. So it's gonna be great to be able to go out there and take the ball first pitch and start the team off on a good track. Because I believe in everybody on the team and their abilities, and whatever happens. But I know that we're gonna lay it on the line tomorrow.
Is your mom the rowdiest mom of the baseball moms?
Call me, I'll go on with that one. But yeah, I think so. She gets after it. There's a lot of moms out there, but you'll hear my mom for a country mile away. I'll tell you that.
Just I guess talk about this weekend for you personally. I mean, obviously it's been kind of an up and down just race recently of whether or not you're going to be a DH, you're going to be second base, you're not going to be playing. I mean, just obviously you had the big weekend last weekend and you made some really great plays over at second base. Just how excited are you to get this opportunity to be a pretty consistent starter here in a super regional and try to help lead your team to Omaha?
Yeah, I'm very excited. Really looking forward to this weekend. That's what we live for. Everybody on this team is wanted to be here. Worked really hard to get here, and I'm really excited to get this opportunity and play on the biggest stage at Tennessee and the SEC, going on the road in a super regional. And we're just ready to go. We're super excited to be back.
Zach, just reflecting for a second, we didn't get to talk to you at Oregon at all. What was it like for you to go to the place where you had originally signed?
Yeah, it was different for sure. Going somewhere where I've been before, and I was signed there, and at first I wasn't even sure, because in a regional you don't have to play all three teams, and wasn't sure if I'd get the opportunity to play against them, and we ended up doing it. And being back there was something different. Kind of felt like I've been there before, because I have, and felt like, it was kind of reminiscent a little bit that it could have been the place where I went and everything. But I was happy to get the opportunity to play there and do what I did and do what our team did too, especially after dropping the first game and fighting back like that and doing that. It was just awesome. It was great to be up there.
How much do you guys talk about run support for your pitchers as the hitters? Is that something that is consciously said, or is it just one of those things that's understood? We gotta be better in that area. Yeah,
it's something we talk about definitely all the time. It's we have this mindset of no runs are ever enough, and the more runs we can score, the better the pitchers are going to feel out there, the more confident they're going to be, and they're just going to be able to fill up the zone and get outs as quick as possible. So run support's a huge thing. We always talk about trying to get as many as we can every game, and never stopping and never being satisfied with just having a couple run lead or just getting one at the beginning of the game. You just got to keep fighting. Every at-bat's equally important, no matter what the score is.
Hey, yeah, kind of along those lines. I mean, obviously, Dylan, Trey, Gavin, those guys get a lot of the headlines, and deservedly so. They've had obviously amazing years, but the second game against Oregon, it was not only just Gavin, but I mean, you and Cade Beloso, Drew Bianco. I mean, Jordan Thompson had a big hit. It seemed like 1 through 9, you guys have really been kind of clicking here in the postseason. Just how great has that been to see? And obviously it's going to be very important for you guys to have a very similar output this weekend as well.
Yeah, I mean, those three guys definitely deserve to have the attention on them. Dylan, Trey, and Gavin had unbelievable seasons, and it's just been such a pleasure playing with them and seeing what they do every day. But when it comes to postseason ball especially, I feel like your whole lineup's got to produce 1 through 9, and the people at the bottom order got to really pick it up and get the big hit here or do a job, no matter if it's a bunt or sack fly, something like that. So seeing that happen this weekend was something special, and it really pushed us through and got us those wins that we needed. And it's going to be very important for us 1 through 9 to be really tough this weekend if we're going to get past this team.
It's one of the more famous sayings in sports to kind of be playing your best ball at the right time, but it kind of feels like that's where y'all are at right now. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, you got to peak at the right time. You don't want to peak too early, and you definitely don't want to peak too late. That's just something. And once we got the opportunity, once we knew we were getting into the playoffs, that's what it was about. You just got to have a chance. You just got to get in, and it's anybody's ball game at that point. And that's definitely what we were talking about. Just let us in, give us a chance, and we're going to prove some people wrong. And I think that's what we did. I know playing your best ball at the right time, that's all you can ask for.
Do you guys pay much attention to that regular season series with Tennessee, and are you guys motivated by those results?
I mean, we've looked back at it a little bit. I wouldn't say we're too focused on it or going over things that we did that series, but I don't know. I think it's just another series against another really good team. I don't think we're really looking back at it as extra motivation or anything. I think we're just going to go out there and play as hard as we can and do the things that we do and try and get some wins.
When you do look back at that series, just how much do you think this team has evolved and changed? Like, how far has it come, and in what areas since that series to now to be playing the way y'all are?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of things have changed. I'm going through a full SEC schedule. Makes you mature, makes you battle hard, and like Coach was saying, and I think we've grown a lot from that. I think we know what to expect. I think we've had the ABs, we've had the innings on the mound, and we've all just gotten better and gotten closer as a team, and we've evolved a lot since then. I think it's been showing lately, and I think it's going to continue to show.
For you personally, it's been sort of go ahead.
Zach, a big talk this week has been about the crowd and the packed house at the stadium this week. How much more mentally prepared are y'all to handle that?
I mean, I think we're just excited. I think we're ready for it. We've been playing in front of the big crowds, and I think we like it. Honestly, I think we'd rather play in front of the big crowds and have the energy, have the awesome environment that it's going to be this year, and I mean this weekend. And we're just looking forward to it. We're ready to have the place rocking and do what we do.
Zach, for you personally, obviously it's been kind of an up and down year, but now you're batting like almost about 280. What is it that you've done here recently to kind of get yourself back on track? Obviously, you had that big opposite field home run over the weekend. What did you kind of need to do to get your game where you wanted it to be?
Yeah, there was just some small adjustments that I needed to make and some mindset things and just trying to be myself instead of being someone else. And I think those were the biggest things I did, and it's been paying off recently. And I'm just trying to keep it going. Looking forward to playing this weekend and keeping it going.
There's quite a few guys still on the team from that 2019 Super Regional appearance. Have they kind of given you and any of the younger guys who aren't on that team any advice about going into it?
Honestly, I haven't heard that much. I think we're all just kind of ready. We know what to expect, and I think we're just gonna treat it as another series. I know it's for something bigger than that, but I think at the end of the day, we're just playing baseball. We're doing what we love with all of our brothers out there, and I think that's what it's going to be this weekend.
Zach, is it right that you're the one who started Happy Mike Day and Vibe Train and all these other little sayings that y'all like to throw around?
I mean, I'm not going to take credit for all the things. I know Drew Bianco has his things that he came up with, and Mitchell Sanford as well. But, I mean, I would say that all three of us, we have most of the things we say. We came up with them, and they're just kind of been recycled a little bit. But Happy Landon Day, Happy Mike Day, that was me. I did start that at Auburn. And, we're riding with the Happy Mike Day. Starts tomorrow. We're ready.